know you've done something.
Whatever do you mean?
You've always done something. It's a lovely day out. We're having a good time. What have you done?
You mistake me for some sort of scoundrel.
Carl.
I am a respected member of the community. To even insinuate...
Okay, Carl. So what did you do today?
Well, let's see. I washed the car.
Uh-huh.
I made a donation to the local Girl Scout troop.
Sure.
I returned an overdue movie at Blockbuster.
What else?
I stepped on a ladybug by accident.
Go on.
And I baked some banana bread for our neighbor Pat. I believe that's it. Done.
That's it.
That's all I did today. Oh!
Carl, what is that?
I may have forgot to mention one of my activities.
Carl!
I apologize, that was wrong.
Explain, Carl.
Well, from here, it looks like a weather balloon.
I'm not in the mood for this.
I think it's just a lens flare and some dust.
Just tell me, Carl.
Fine. I may have created a crack in space-time through which to collect millions of baby hands.
Huh.
What do you mean, huh?
I think I was expecting worse.
Worse? But this is totally fucked, bro.
I know, but after last time with the nuke and the faces, it's just...
Come on, look at this. How did I even do this?
I don't understand how or why you do anything.
Do you know what it feels like to be Carl right now? It hurts. Not as much as the babies, but it hurts.
Carl.
What?
Why are there only hands from white babies?
Well, you know, Whitey's gotta pay.
Ah.
And the payment is baby hands.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Things are crazy. So I figured, before we jump into tonight's topics, we should have a good little chuckle. As always, thank you for joining me. Please share. Always bring a friend with you. Now, we're fresh off the DNC in Chicago. So people have thoughts, people have feelings, people have really big feelings. People are full of shit. But let's start with the misogynoir against Madam Vice President Kamala Devi Harris.
Kamala Harris is not demure. She's not very mindful. A woman who doesn't get married until 49 years old and doesn't have biological children, yet acquires the adult children of the man that she married when she was pushing 50. That is not demure. Not at all. A woman who locks up black men while she was California Attorney General is not very mindful of the black community at all. It's very not demure. It's not a demure thing to do. The fact that she's been the leader of the Democrat Party and basically the nominee for president for over 3 weeks and hasn't sat for an interview with anybody in the mainstream media is not very mindful of the voters who may actually want to know what it is that she believes in and what she plans to do. It's not very demure. That laugh, that laugh, honey, it's not demure. There's nothing about Kamala Harris that is mindful. There's nothing about Kamala Harris that is demure.
But this is coming from the man that wasn't very mindful, wasn't very cutesy, wasn't very demure when he had to take to the media circuit to talk about how his conservative comrades within the grand old party were being racist towards him. This is the same man who was caught in 4K being disrespected in a very racially charged manner by conservatives at a bar. This is a man who doesn't have a ring on his finger and is just spouting talking points. And as far as Madam Vice President Harris taking interviews, got the handy dandy calendar right here, next Tuesday, we'll be covering it here. She will be sitting down with CNN at 9 p.m. See how that just lines up? But the DNC was to talk about that. And see, it's more apropos to, talk to the people directly and answer the people's questions directly, because that's what they were asking for from all of these politicians. She listened. She's been doing that through social media, through Zoom, through face-to-face, because this upcoming week, she's going to be doing a bus tour through Georgia. And not just hitting major cities. She's really going out to the people. Isn't that what everybody said they wanted? But they're complaining because she's listening to the people and delivering what the people are asking for. Oh, Good grief. Why would we want a POTUS that would actually listen to us and do their best to give us what we're requesting? It's almost like what I said in a video a few weeks ago. The United States just likes to gripe. The United States is like the honeymooners. They're never going to get divorced. They're just going to sit around and make their personality trait having something to complain about. Well, let's keep going, because he's not the only one with misogynoir towards Madam VP Harris. Of course not. Let's keep it moving.
I couldn't agree more. Look at all the idiots making excuses for Kamala. She's only the vice president. She's in charge of the border, bro. She's the second most powerful person in the fucking country. Let's be serious. Kamala Harris is president right now. All the shit she's promising, you're in power right now. Do it now. Oh, she's only the vice president. Joe Biden is asleep on the damn beach. You're in charge, lady. Close the border now. Fix the economy now. Lower gas prices and grocery prices now. Do this shit now. She ain't. She full of shit.
I miss the days of when people just stayed in their lane. Everybody wasn't trying to act as if they were some prolific political pundit, because they realized they really didn't pay attention unless there were certain elections coming up. But in that same breath, you had people who would follow politicians, especially if those politicians were from their area, from the beginning of their career all the way up into whether they wanted to stop at Capitol Hill or stop in the Oval Office with their political aspirations. So people were a lot more familiar. Now you have people just talking out the side of their ass. Number one, let us be clear. Inflation is global. Grocery prices, grocery stores are not federally funded. They are not public places. They are private institutions. If you own a store, who determines your pricing? Oh, that's right, you do. Gas prices are not controlled by the president. I know that the GOP likes to muddy the waters anytime there's not a Republican president and act as if they have some mythical, magical powers over it. They don't. And I need people to understand. Think of it this way. Think of POTUS as basically being a glorified figurehead. Because the president of the United States is not Putin, is not Kim Jong-un. They can't just snap their fingers and decide they want to do this, that, and the other. Even when it comes down to choosing ambassadors, Supreme Court justices, we've all, at this point in time, been able to see the congressional hearing. We've been able to see people get vetted. No matter how much a president wants someone, doesn't mean they're going to get through. That's why Merrick Garland right now is not an associate justice of the Supreme Court. And in the year of our ancestry, 2024, you have the capability to research something at your fingertips. Long gone are the days that you have to go to the main library in the downtown of your town and hope that they have the latest technology and the latest books and all of this other stuff. You can do it right here. There's no excuse for you not to be educated. I'm not saying that you have to have the wealth of knowledge of people like myself who have been watching this as long as they've been able to speak and comprehend and read. But you should have a basic grasp of what is going on. Y'all can find out who somebody you fell out with in the third grades, baby mama, baby daddy, ex-boyfriend, second cousins, first best friend, twice removed, is doing on a random Tuesday. And yips aplenty, but you don't know how your own government works. You don't know who's in charge of what, and y'all just out here pissed the fuck off at everybody. But, and if you have not seen it today, should be scrolling across the bottom here. I go into this aspect a lot further in today's blog entry regarding the punishing of Black women in the United States. But I hope y'all got a good beverage and a snack. Clutch your pearls, trigger warning. Let's continue.
Just because Kamala Harris, a black woman, we supposed to just hand it to her. You want us, just because we black and she's a black woman, we supposed to just hand her the presidency. We don't supposed to worry about the economy, the migrant, none of that. We don't supposed to worry about nothing just because she's a black woman. Look, she ain't gonna fix the economy. She not gonna protect this nation. She know nothing about business. Man, it's Donald Trump 2024. And if you don't like it, you know what to do.
It is amazing that ever since Trump, and I'm going to say ever since Trump, because they haven't just said this towards Harris. Everybody's like, oh, they don't know anything about business. They don't know anything about business. Why are they in? Since when has a business degree been a prerequisite to be the POTUS? Ronald Reagan and Donald John Trump have been POTUS. We have had a president that we have no idea what he actually looked like in life. Confused about who I'm talking about? George Washington. Y'all do realize that he had every picture of himself, let me not say photo, altered. We don't know what he actually looked like. We really don't. They positioned things in certain ways and, did stuff to we the vanity. But now all of a sudden somebody needs to be a business. Trump isn't even a businessman. Trump doesn't even cosplay well as a businessman. Oh, yeah, I remember Jesse Jackson. I also remember Jesse Jackson being real damn petty. I remember Jesse Jackson running for president and Al Sharpton. People seem to forget that Al Sharpton ran also. And I also remember Jesse being real petty when Barack got elected and he didn't realize he was on a hot mic. That's why his little decrepit ass was hanging on by the titty hair of an ancestor at the DNC. Just because I'm black don't mean I always bet on black. But here's a thought. If you need a tutor to read stop signs, do not give political commentary. Because the amount of people right now stepping out just to express their anti-blackness and their specifically misogynoir is mind-boggling. I can tell you, far too many people are too comfortable with white supremacy and the patriarchy. They project from white supremacy. It goes for you're only voting for them because they're black, because they tend to only root for people that are white. On the flip side, it's no different than the believing that a black person in a position of power, in a position that takes great intellect, great skill, that they didn't work hard to get it. It was given to them because the other side does that so often. Just like if they see a black family in a nice neighborhood, Oh, who in your family gave that to you? How did you get this house? Because one thing, and I've witnessed this myself, you have a nice white couple, get married in their 20s. The entirety of both families will come together and give them a down payment or outright purchase a house in a very affluent neighborhood. Now, these are the people, you may work with them. They may be very friendly. They may be very social and go to everybody's gatherings at their house. And it'll be years before they invite anyone over because that house is empty. They're not turning on the electricity in every room. They're not doing it because they can't afford it. They haven't built up to that. And that's what it is. It's that projection. Because they will back anybody and anything white, especially white and male, above all else. And remember, they believe that they're at the top of the totem pole. So yeah. And there's so many Black people that feel that success can only come hand in hand with white people or by emulating white people. And they would rather back the white candidate because to them, white is right. And as long as we're being led by white people, it'll be okay. And that's what white people do. Because if you sit around and listen, when somebody hasn't deconstructed, when they haven't decolonized, they don't care about credentials. Look at the phenomenon that is Caitlin Clark. She is just now kind of getting her stride in the WNBA. But there are people who thought just because with no championships, no fantastical stats, she should have been in the starting five for the Olympic team. That's why. It's no different than, I know it happened from the 70s to the 90s. There were companies in Asia that would hire white men basically just to be a figurehead so that they could put their faces on billboards. So, they could put them on promotional material like, hey, take us seriously. Our CEO is white. Look, white man shiny. We got to be worth something. Because there are people who still haven't got out of that mindset. They're still in the mindset of W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington. That if it's not led by whiteness and whiteness is not emulated, it's not right. And they'll do that. They're like, oh, we got to back the white person. We got to back the white person, but not the Black person. Because even though there are Black people who believe that they have skills and know that they have worked hard to get someplace, they don't believe that other Black people are doing the same. There are Black people who still believe that Barack Obama was not qualified to be president, that he only got in because Black people just looked at a Black man and voted him in. If that was the case, why wasn't Shirley Chisholm our first Black president? Why not Jesse Jackson? Why not Al Sharpton? Why not Herman Cain? But on the coattails of misogynoir is the outrage. Viva the DNC.
The fact that the Democratic National Convention cannot play patriotic music, it's sickening. Think of the songs that have been played so far tonight in comparison. And of course they have a minority singing. And then they show the oddest people in the audience. Guys, how is this anything about America? Where is the lyric saying, God bless America? Or seriously, mask wearers? Oh my God, I can't with this. And they're going out of their way to show it. Like, hey, we are the people who support the mask wearers, the unreasonable mask wearers. And that was a photo of a classroom who had, look at this. If we all, next they're going to show a he, she in the audience.
She said it. She said all of the quiet parts out loud. singing about unity, because that song was If We All Come Together. So singing about unity is not patriotic. Showing pictures from around the United States, whether in a classroom or not, is not patriotic. Caring about your fellow man and their health in a at capacity arena and wearing a mask, no. And going out of their way because that many people actually care about their fellow citizens and residents, that's not patriotic. People of color are not patriotic, because did you hear the vitriol because there was a woman of color on the stage? And here's the thing with the artists that the Republicans can play, they never use their music. It's almost as if they know that nobody likes those people either. And they are so far gone in their racism and their bigotry and all of their phobes that they can't even fake it for the vote anymore. Because remember the time when they would act like they were so kumbaya and that they wanted unity and they were all about the family? They can't even fake it anymore. They don't even want to fake it anymore. So since we're not saying God bless America while doing everything that Jesus wouldn't do, yeah, but that ain't all. Let's keep going.
I don't invest a lot of time into watching politics, so it's not something I usually do. But I was walking past the TV, and I think it was on CNN, and it was the DNC, like the Democratic Convention or whatever that's supposed to be, and they had a rapper up on stage showing out, and like I was so confused. I was like, what is going on here? Like, what does this have to do with politics? And I was interested because I was like, okay, so why don't they bring in an expert, like to talk about some real issues that we have going on in society? I mean, we have people that can't afford rent. We have people that can't afford groceries. We have some legitimate problems going on. We have a whole genocide going on overseas in multiple countries as well. But it's just crazy to me that out of everything they could think to do, they thought to bring a rapper on stage. Like, oh yes, this is gonna appeal to the black people. Like this is, and it's low key. It's like, and I don't even know if it's low key. Like it's degrading, bro. Like it's absolutely degrading because like I don't even listen to rap music like that, bro. Like I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be real with y'all for like 2 minutes. I got more electronic bubblegum pop on my Apple playlist than I do rap music. Like I'm not even gonna lie to you guys.
Before you ask, no, he didn't have any think pieces about the RNC. He admitted that he doesn't watch politics. He doesn't pay attention to politics. He had all these questions, but he decided not to Google them and decided to pull out every racial trope that he could fit in a short period of time. Now, the musical selections that they chose was to bridge generations. And not just Black people like rap music, yeah. But of course, let's make everything monolithic. And I don't know why all of a sudden, after all the years, there used to be a time where you could not, like now, if you're not interested in politics, woo, guess what? You can still watch TV. You can still watch other things. I'm old enough to remember that when the RNC and the DNC came, that was it. That's all you had to watch. You had to turn TV off and go find something else to do because it broadcast all the way through. You saw it. It's always been a celebration, a coming together. Let's show unity. We're gonna talk a little shop. We'll update you on a few things, but basically, this is the biggest commercial ever. This is the biggest advertisement ever. Now, in recent years, there hasn't been too much back and forth where, one state's like, oh, we want Joe Black. This state is like, we want Susie McNoodle. And this state, like, that used to happen. Now they're going in more of a united front where they're like, okay, this is the candidate that we want. We're not really going to have this back and forth. We're not going to come down to the wire. But it's not a TED Talk. And when it comes to politics nowadays, it's irking me like the movie Marvel fans and the movie DC fans irk me, where they've never read a comic. They don't read any mangas. They're not a part of any communities outside of the cinematic community. And now that movies are going closer to the source material, they're upset. They're enraged. Or they're not OG. And you can't come out and just decide, oh, this is wrong. Like, I'm not the biggest NASCAR fan. I'm not going to sit here and give you a complete breakdown on NASCAR. Have I watched a few races? Yeah. Have I really paid attention? No, not really. Do I know who's hot and who's not right now? No. But if I was to attend a race or watch a race, I would at least Google to make sure I got at least the basics correct. It's like I did a live the other day. And somebody brought up the question about Trump's golden sneakers. And I knew that there were some prototypes that had been sold. I asked a sneakerhead to explain the rest. That's how you do it. But there are people that they look at politics as if it is a sporting event, as if it's their team against your team. And they're just it's okay when you shit talking back and forth, but when it comes to things that actually affect livelihoods, this isn't about lying and, oh, this is degrading to Black people. And can y'all please try to stop talking to and about Black people as if we are preschoolers and we will just believe it because you said it. And what do I mean by that? Like with preschoolers, you can easily manipulate them into behaving or doing something you want them to do by saying, oh, well, Santa Claus wouldn't like that. You want Santa to bring you something? Well, think about when the Tooth Fairy comes, when you're a good little boy or girl, Tooth Fairy gives you more money. Because they don't know. We know. Oh, this is degrading. It wasn't degrading to have Hulk Hogan rip his shirt open at the RNC, and then a week after the DNC, go into a club and ask the people if they would like for him to body slam Vice President Harris. Now, word on the street is Hulk, when you go to church, which is shocking. Well, it really isn't shocking that he has a church to attend. You're walking with a cane. But you needed that money from your biopic. You ended that check real quick. But, is this the same one?
I don't.
Yeah, it's the same one. All right. Now, you know what? Let's lighten up. Just real quick. No one likes to clown J-Lo more than me. Well, maybe one other person on TikTok. But we know I'm not a Jenny from the Block fan. Okay. She played us when she first started her music career, because when she did the movie Selena, she was asked by Mary Hart on Entertainment Tonight, yes, the OG Mary Hart on the OG Entertainment Tonight, if she would ever consider putting out an album. She said that she wouldn't, that she couldn't carry a tune. She said it. She said it. And then fast forward a little bit of time, we got that bullshit that she been riding on ever since. Okay, she just keep telling us she from the block. The block of cheese. But it looks like Benny Ben outplayed J-Lo at her own game. Not sure what I'm talking about. Baby. Lock in. This is good. Pay attention.
And Affleck, you gonna pay for your crimes. Cause you got us over here beating the brakes off of J-Lo, knowing that it was your idea for her to show them love letters in that film.
People magazine just published this article where it said that Ben Affleck actually had the decisive control over Jennifer Lopez's documentary. Yes, that includes those love letters that she was reading to her staff. What makes the story even crazier is the Bit of Her Updates page on X had posted this interview that Jennifer Lopez did back in February. In the sit-down interview, the journalist asked Jennifer, "Did you hesitate to make this film?" Jennifer replies back and says, "It wasn't my idea."
Did you hesitate at all? It wasn't my idea, right? It wasn't my idea to photograph every single moment of doing this. You know, to be honest, when we started making the film, it just kind of got more and more bizarre, and my husband, who had a front seat to the whole thing, really was the one who was like, we should be capturing this.
Baby, the way she shook the supporting staff of this documentary is crazy. Look at this man's face. He like, what? Like, what you mean you didn't even want us here? Yes, honey, it was her husband. Man, that man an evil genius. Now, the People magazine article goes on to say he was the one who had control, pretty much, according to the source who spoke with People magazine. Affleck was very much in favor of this project, and he was the driving force for Jennifer Lopez to do the movie and the album, and then insisted on the documentary. This is where his acting skills kick up, because the article goes on to say where he looked like he was hesitant and almost surprised by it. How you surprised by some you thought of? The source goes on to say, because that was a false narrative. The source also says the documentary was Ben's idea for his company. Now, the name of his company is called Artist Equity. The source goes on to say that Jennifer's team didn't want to do it since it was focused on the album and the Amazon original video project. The source goes on to say that although Ben Affleck seemed uncomfortable with the revealing look at their marriage and how much attention the documentary brought to the relationship with Lopez 55, and the Air actor was highly involved with the editing of that film. That man is diabolical, and the way that he had us curb stopping this woman is insane. That source goes on to say that he was very supportive of Lopez making the movie and her album. The source explains he knew every step of the way what she was doing. Go on to say he loved the movie and the film, but when you look back at the documentary, it looks like he was surprised by it and didn't sign up for it. He was playing a role of playing the regular guy, please. And meanwhile, he was the engine in the back of it. Now, the crazy part is they say that he definitely took it away from the director so he could have the narrative he wanted out there. It's confusing because he was so involved and so proud of Jennifer because she really got it there. But in the doc, it looked like he was surprised. You're making an album out of our relationship? Like, I'm really starting to see why these women left this man. This man has to be, by far, one of the greatest actors of all time. The source wraps up their quote and says, at the time, people thought it was funny, referring to the documentary. Now, the press is reporting that Affleck wasn't happy with the life in the public eye. He not only supported that life, he encouraged it. The need for the documentary was his idea. You gonna pay for your crimes, Ben.
Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. But let us not forget J-Lo's track record. J-Lo's track record of we really don't know why any of her relationships end. We know the narrative that she jumps out in front of and puts out there. Just like with this whole filing for divorce, they have been going through negotiating behind the scenes. Should we file? Should we not? She's showing up at family stuff and then poof. So we don't know. Child, he gave her the ultimate dose of her own medicine. I ain't mad at it. Like, he sat back like a G. Like, you know what? I'm gonna let you get drugged in these streets. I'm gonna let them drag you to hell back and up yonder. But take a look at this new take on racism.
Big trigger warning in this one, guys, and brace yourselves. I was not ready for this video. To add some context, a friend of mine sent me a video that he found on Twitter and told me it would make for a good reaction. This is that reaction.
Racism isn't bad, okay? So it's not bad to be racist. Because racism is a discrimination factor, which we use all the time.
Yeah, and everyone all around the world, all races, is racist.
Yeah, and you should
white
be,
people
though.
are the only ones that get criticized for it.
Like, if you're black and you see a group of young black guys rolling up, dressed all hood, acting suspicious, you should make a stereotypical assumption that there's potential issues, and you should probably not hang out in that vicinity unless you are loaded with a gun and you're wanting a fight. I want to re-educate people into understanding that racism doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a better friend, a better husband, a better father, and it makes you a better person. And it doesn't mean that you don't it doesn't mean that you're against, like, some people are against miscegenation and race mixing and stuff like that. It doesn't mean that you're against that stuff. It doesn't even mean that somehow you don't have friends. Like, people are like, I'm not racist, I have black friends.
Yeah.
Be racist with black friends.
Exactly. I have tons of black friends. I think they respect the fact that I'm honest to them.
Correct.
All these liberals, like during BLM, like washing their feet and shit, and they're surprised that the racist guy is the one that has all the black friends. They're like confused. It's like, yeah, because I treat them fucking like people. I call them out on bullshit. I don't censor myself around them.
Well, that's but that's also why it's like humane. It's like I'm carrying a gun, and so if I go around that group of black guys, I'm gonna kill them. And so I'm actually, by being racist, saving black lives because they're not dead because I chose to not engage.
I'm not even really sure what to say to that. This guy's name is Elijah Schaefer. He's a journalist for the Gateway Pundit, which makes sense. You know, all I really have to say in response to that is no. No. None of that is true at all. I don't. No. Just no. This is why men need to stop creating podcasts. It's all watered down. It's all recycled garbage. No. Watching that video made me feel like I need a shower. I just feel dirty. And like years of my life were just taken from me. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought.
You had to have seen that coming. You had to have seen that coming. There's a progression to everything. As much as they try to, well, previously it was, oh, racism is done. It's over with. You know, it ended with Obama becoming president. It ended with Black people becoming millionaires. It ended with this, it ended with that. While tossing forth microaggressions, while still holding on to the tenets of white supremacy. You had to see that they would repurpose and rebrand it. Now it's a benefit for us. It will keep us safe if they're racist and outwardly racist. They won't shoot us if they can just, be outwardly racist. They can profile us. It's okay. It's for everybody's safety. You had to see that coming. Because racists don't have a problem with racism. They have a problem with the label. But if they repurpose and rebrand the label, there's no shame. They can be out and about and be just how they want to be. If they can convince us that it's for our benefit, that it's for our protection, that it's actually more honest to just be racist, because in their mind, everybody's like them. It makes more sense for us to be the danger instead of them that's actively talking about using weaponry against us just for existing. It's no different that when for so long little girls were taught that there's a such thing as love taps. Oh, he's just picking on you and pulling your hair and hitting you and pushing you into the ground because he likes you. And those same people who teach little girls this and teach little boys that that's how you show your love will criticize women who end up in DV relationships, in DV situations. But see, along with this new look on racism, there's a new faux apology going around. Take a look.
First and obviously most important thing is that I'm so sorry, specifically to Black people and the other people of color who were offended by my tweets, okay? Because Obviously, I'm seeing a lot of like positivity in the comments and people saying that they forgive me, and it's all white people. And that's how I know I did not address this properly at all. So I want to be clear that this is directed specifically to Black people and other people of color, and I'm not seeking white people's understanding or forgiveness, approval, or whatever it is. Now, sorry is not enough, in my opinion, for the way that I was tweeting and the things that I was saying online at that time. And I know that there's no apology beyond like reparations that can mend that wound. I don't care if I was a teenager, I was old enough to know better. And not only did I choose to say those things, I chose to say those things on a public platform, and I am very, very ashamed of it. The tweets were racist, okay? There's no getting around that. They cannot be dismissed as jokes or political opinions or anything else. It was racism. In my last video, I put all this emphasis on my family, thinking it was gonna like provide context. My parents were addicts, so I was adopted by my grandparents when I was like 10, and I grew up with them from that point on. And as is true for a lot of grandparents, they're a little bit less progressive than a lot of us are now. The fact of the matter is, nobody forced me to tweet those things. I tweeted those things on my own, and the blame is on me.
What was wrong with that faux apology? Because I'm pretty sure you believe that she corrected her mistakes from her original apology. You're probably going to say, but Taz, she didn't center white people. She absolutely did. And before you think I'm reaching, I'm going to break it down to you. One, an apology doesn't take a big production. There was no need to put up the comments and let me splice back to this. That was still a white-centered, white-focused, please, white people, look at me. I'm such a great person. I went from being racist to an ally. What she put in her faux apology are the comments and the feedback that she got from Black people, and she just regurgitated it out. She memorized what was commented the most and regurgitated it out, but she still center-focused white people because she still wants the sympathy of white people, because for some reason it seems to be canon in far too many white people's lives that they have a racist arc publicly before they learn that their racism should be covert and not overt. It's just a new faux apology. But some people will never apologize for it. Take a look at this.
When we moved to Texas, I needed to get a new cardiologist. And so my wife, she does a lot of this for me because before we had kids, she was an RN. And she knows a lot more than I do. I let her read those books. She read some medical books. Yeah. And so she's doing the research and looking at these things. And she shows me two doctors, both with this, within the same practice, same company, hospital. And saying, do you like one over the other? And one was a young white dude and one was a young Black dude. And I said, I prefer the young white dude. And this is why. The reason why is not because I'm white, but because we currently live in a historical moment in the West, and particularly in these United States, where I know that both of these guys could be perfectly qualified. But I also know that if there's a chance that one of them was not qualified and was given a free pass, it'd be the Black guy. I know that young white guy, there's no way he got a free pass.
That was Christian pastor Joel Webbin. He is the president and founder of Right Response Ministries. Once again, another pastor who just can't help himself. If you don't know who he is, I don't blame you. I wouldn't have known who he is either if not for Twitter. I scrolled through his account. It's not great. There was a tweet reporting that RFK Jr.'s wife was not happy with his decision to drop out of the race and endorse Trump, to which Joel Webbin said, quote, "Good man, a man should listen to his wife, prayerfully consider her thoughts, then make the right decision, even if she disagrees. bad woman, a woman should respectfully disagree with her husband, allow him to make the final decision, then stand behind him, refusing to allow her disagreement to be made public. Keep in mind, this is the same guy who, during that same interview, said the 19th Amendment should be repealed. That is the Christian position. For those of you who don't know, the 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote. If only the things he said surprised me.
So the wife that's a former nurse, he allows her to make these decisions, and in his mind, the black person would just be pushed through medical school, internships, all of this, and just handed the position. As he is a below mediocre pastor that studied nothing and earned nothing. And on top of that, he believes that no woman should ever publicly disagree with their husband, and that the husband should just have the final say, no matter how detrimental that is. There's no union, there's no partnership, there's no equally yoked, there's just me, caveman. Interesting. Oh, it's definitely white supremacy, 100%. But he reeks of the type of man that thinks, I exist, therefore that's all the effort I have to put in. Which leads us into our final little nugget of the night. It's a nugget.
My wife demanded I write my wedding vows and I refused because it's a waste of time. But now she is acting like I'm the worst husband ever, when me proposing to her is enough proof that I love her. How do I convince her that she is wrong? So, I, a 33-year-old male, just got married last weekend, and what was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives turned into this whole drama fest, and I really don't get why. My wife, Sarah, a 30-year-old female, and I have been together for 5 years, and I've always been a straightforward, no-nonsense kind of guy. I show my love through actions, not words. I take care of her, I'm loyal, and I've always been there when she needs me. So, when it came to planning the wedding, I didn't think writing vows was a big deal. We're busy people, and between work, wedding planning, and just life in general, I didn't really have the time, or honestly, the interest, to sit down and write some long, sappy speech. I mean, she knows I love her, right? I don't need to prove it with words. I figured the wedding itself, the whole event, was enough to show my commitment. Plus, I've never been good with words. I'm more of an actions speak louder kind of guy. The night before the wedding, Sarah asked if I had my vows ready, and I just casually told her, no, I didn't write anything down, but I'll say something on the spot. She looked a bit surprised, but I didn't think much of it. I mean, we were about to get married. Why stress over some words when the whole point is that we're making a lifelong commitment? Fast forward to the ceremony. The officiant asked me to say my vows, and I just kind of winged it. I said something like, I love you, I'll always be there for you, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you. Short, sweet, and to the point. I thought it was fine. But when I looked at Sarah, she had this crushed look on her face. Like, I didn't understand what the big deal was. She's getting the commitment, right? That's what matters. After the ceremony, she was quiet, and I could tell she was upset, but I didn't get why. Later, some of her friends and even a couple of mine came up to me saying I really messed up by not preparing vows, that it looked like I didn't care, and that Sarah deserved better. One of her bridesmaids even had the audacity to say I embarrassed her in front of everyone. I was like, seriously? We're married now. That's what counts, not some cheesy speech. When I talked to Sarah later, she said she felt hurt that I didn't put any effort into the vows and that it made her feel like I didn't care as much as she does. I told her that was ridiculous. I married her, didn't I? That's the ultimate proof of how much I care. Why should I have to spell it out in front of everyone? Honestly, I think everyone's overreacting. The wedding was beautiful, and at the end of the day, we're married. That's what matters. I didn't see the point in making a big deal out of a few words when I'm already committed to spending my life with her. But now I'm here because people are acting like I'm the worst husband ever for not writing vows. Am I the butthole for not writing wedding vows because I didn't see the point when my actions should speak for themselves?
So he's an action guy that put no action into it. And I don't know how he expected her to know that he loves her and that he will be there for her. I don't think he's going to be married for very long. But you would be amazed at how many people really have that mindset. Yeah, he kept saying he's an action guy, but took no action. No action whatsoever. And before somebody goes, well, if they've been together 5 years, she should have known he wasn't going to do this. When she brought up, hey, writing our own vows, he could have said, hey, you know, I'm not good at writing this. This isn't my forte. How about we stick to the traditional vows? Or he could have enlisted her help, the help of a friend, family member. He could have even got AI generated vows. It's not who he is. If you notice, he kept saying he is a man of action. He took no action. He decided her feelings didn't matter. He decided the proposal was enough for her to know that he was going to love her forever and ever. And here's something, one of those nuggets that a lot of people miss in a lot of these Reddit stories. That's not 100% who he is. Because the conversation was brought up about them writing their own vows. So leading up to those 5 years, he presented himself in a way that he wasn't. And he wasn't honest with her. No, he didn't. He didn't tell her until the night before that he didn't put any energy, effort into it. He didn't see a point in it, and that he was going to wing it the night before the wedding, when they were supposed to be working on it months ahead. Yeah, so at the 11th hour, after she put energy and effort into it, after he agreed to it, he was like, I didn't really see the point in it. I'm just going to wing it. No. But, you know, but quickly, just to let you know, starting next week, Learning Through Black Literature classes start back up. You can sign up for those. Links in the bio. There's a new blog up and a new audio podcast up. Those links are also in the bio. And as always, thank you for joining me. As always, each one teach one, each one reach one. Y'all be good. I would say don't do anything that I wouldn't do, but you. Till next time.